Hi and welcome back. I've been talking recently about a new anti-lockdown political party for Great Britain, which is really based on two specific building blocks. Number one is to enshrine into law that lockdown can never occur at any time now or in the future because it totally violates British citizens' civil liberties. And the second thing is the anti-lockdown political party is designed to reaffirm and reinforce our existing Bill of Rights, to strengthen it and to make it the primary legal document that all government is based off of. And I want this to really be a party of principles over policies. And I wanted to just add a few more principles in this video in order to get the conversation going in the in the country. And I think another key point about the anti-lockdown party that needs to be made is that this is going to be a party that runs candidates in all constituencies across the country in the general election. It's not going to be like the Brexit party that, you have people pulling out of their candidacies 20 minutes before the ballots are due to open, saying, they can no longer do it. And, the party pulling candidates out of certain constituencies just because the Prime Minister says so. That's all going to be banned. Any anti-lockdown party candidates that can't in good conscience perform their obligations on election day will be criminally prosecuted. And just to let all the electorate know, there won't be any pulling out of candidates. Next thing we want to have is to have a balanced budget amendment in government so that the government can only spend what it takes in taxation. And this prevents people like Rishi spending us into a kind of a debt oblivion. There can be no more bailouts, there can be no more government lending of money, and we avoid what's going to happen now, which is a sovereign debt crisis where the value of our currency depreciates so much, and we're just piling on more and more debt onto future generations of our country who have not voted for it, either because they're not of voting age or because they're not even born. So that's all going to stop under the anti-lockdown party. The next thing I want to see is a total decentralisation of government. I've talked about mobile parliament, moving parliament out of central London, but also the power structure as well, and sending much more power to mayors, to city councils, to district leaders, to church leaders who can solve problems in their own communities. You don't need every single problem in the country being solved in central London by a central government. We can totally devolve power and push it down to the local level of the country. I also want to see a significantly reduced focus on world affairs. Because of the British Empire, we've had a big focus on the world for a long, long time. And a lot of those things are great things. But I think we've now reached the point where it's becoming a distraction, it's becoming a problem. We are currently always sending money out of our country to help people in the rest of the world, to solve problems in the rest of the world. You might remember, I think it was like Boris Johnson's, second or third day in office, and he was talking about committing money to repair some sort of coral reef in Australia and more money to replant some trees in the Amazon rainforest. We need to get rid of all that nonsense. We're constantly sending money to Africa, forget all that. All this global warming and climate change stuff, we're constantly trying to solve that problem when we're only 1% of the world's population. Let's let China, India, and the United States, which is about 50% of the world's population, solve that problem themselves. They can spend all the money to do it, and we'll just get the benefit without the cost. Next thing I want to see is to reduce the working age of the country. I want to get young people focused on work ethic, focused on financial independence, focused on saving and investment, and become independent and financially secure people throughout their lives and give them more years to do it, rather than taking years off their lives through endless education, endless university, with always a promise of a great job tomorrow, which of course never comes. And I wrote a book on this called We the Future, and so I know quite a bit about it. I don't want to see children exploited, but I'm talking about, young teenagers doing paper rounds, helping their parents' business, helping local community businesses, and earning a bit of money, and getting on the path to financial stability at a young age. I think that'd be a great thing. I also want to have a total embrace of trust in the free citizens of our country. You might remember at the start of the lockdown that the Swedish Prime Minister came out and said, we trust our people to do the right thing with regards to the virus. And of course, the British government did the exact opposite. They don't trust we the people, and there's a total breakdown in trust between the British people and the British government. There's no trust or respect on either side, and it'd be nice to have a government under the anti-lockdown party that totally embraces and trusts our citizens to do the right thing, and that's in their own interest. And I think as part of that, we need to get rid of all these anti-discrimination laws, which are specifically designed to create discrimination, foment division, and foment division across all sorts of identity political ideals, which is totally destructive to the country. We're going to go back to equal justice, and we're going to treat every single citizen the same under the law, and people will do their best and succeed or fail on their own personal merits, and there won't be any grievance politics opportunities. Finally, people are going to want to know, well, David, what are the consequences for people who violate the Bill of Rights? And, they're obviously, the consequences at the current time are not severe enough to disincentivize people like Boris Johnson and Hancock and Rishi from totally running roughshod over the Bill of Rights. And so now we need to have criminal consequences for people that violate them who are working in government. They'll be presumed innocent until proven guilty. They'll go to court to defend themselves, and if they're convicted, they'll be going to prison for a very long time. We need to make sure that the English Bill of Rights are totally respected, and that any contravention or disrespect of them will be criminally prosecuted. And I know a group of people that we can start with on those prosecutions. So I hope you like this video. Hope this is providing some ideas and food for thought for you. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.